Let's move forward. So about myself, your storyteller, my name is Naresh Avasarala, and we live in Atlanta, Georgia. And through the Stotrasagar medium, we do a humble attempt to spread the slokas, stotras, the stories from the scriptures of Sanatana Dharma. I'm going to use this word Sanatana Dharma a lot during our classes. It is another word or the actual term for Hinduism. Over the years, our culture and our practice is called Hinduism, but actually it is called Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana being ancient and Dharma being the practice. So since this is an ancient practice which cannot be dated or nobody knows when it started, it is there from the beginning of mankind. So it is called Sanatana Dharma, and it's not a religion, it's a way of life. So that is what it is. So when I say Sanatana Dharma, I'm talking about Hinduism. So through these medium like the YouTube channel, the mobile app, books, the physical books and the audio books, we're going to launch our website next month, and the music channel that is available in Amazon, Apple and other music stores like Spotify, Instagram. What we do is we provide the word-to-word tutorials for anybody who wants to learn the slokas, the stotras, or who wants to learn the stories of Ramayana, Bhagavatam, Mahabharatam, and these amazing traditions that we have in our culture. So all of that, we try to make them accessible to anybody who's curious to learn them. So that is about me, your whole storyteller, and then what we try to do here through Stotrasagar. So these sessions, the Sundays, we are going to meet and we are going to tell the story of Mahabharata. What is that story and what does it do to us? Why do we have to know about it, right? So most importantly, this is the largest epic with more than 100,000 slokas. So to give you an idea, so a typical Vishnu Sahasranamam, the stotra, it has like 178 slokas, and it takes about half an hour if you chant the stotra in a medium pace. So in that project, 100,000 slokas. For 200 slokas, about 200 slokas, it takes half an hour. How long would it take for somebody to write it and somebody to chant it? So that is one of the great aspects of Mahabharata. It is the largest epic that is available to mankind. It preserves our history, our philosophy, the traditions of Sanatana Dharma. It explains the practice, the dharma, the righteous way to do the right thing and the wrong thing, how everybody has to follow these rules through the vivid stories from the Mahabharata, the story itself. And then there is Vishnu Sahasranamam that we just talked about. It is an integral part of Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita is also an integral part of Mahabharata. So Mahabharata has given a lot of things to mankind. And the main thing, the life lessons, that as we go through the story, it is just not a story that we listen to and forget about. This embeds into our day-to-day culture. What is dharma? What is adharma? In other terms, what is the right thing to do? What is the wrong thing to do? It is just that fraction of moment. For every person, there is that good and bad. There is that fraction of moment where we are taking that decision. Do I need to do this or do I need to do this? Oh, this is right, but it will take more effort, or it will cause some kind of discomfort to me. Oh, this is not right, but this is comfortable and it is easy and I can get away with it. So those decisions are very momentary, and how it changes the course of one's life. We will see that actually in today's story itself, we will see an example of how a decision made in that one fraction of moment changes the consequences and changes the life course of somebody. So that is what we try to understand as we go through these stories. We not only know the culture and what happened back then, we also relate it to our day-to-day life, and then we think, how do I put it into practice? What do I learn from this? So that is what will help us make those tough decisions in day-to-day life. So coming to the story, the Mahabharata, like I said, it is the largest epic with more than 100,000 slokas, right? Who actually wrote it and who actually narrated it. So Vedavyasa, we did the prayer for Vedavyasa in the beginning. He is the narrator of the story. So one day Vedavyasa was meditating, and then he suddenly realized that he needs to write this amazing story that happened around Pandavas, Kauravas, and Lord Krishna, and he needs to bring this forward to everybody, the mankind, and everybody who's interested in these stories and who is interested to better their life. So then he realized, he immediately prayed to Lord Brahma and said, this is going to be a very large epic. How do I write it? I have to think and then format it in the right grammatical verses, and then I have to write it. So is there an easier way? Who can help me with actually writing it? So Lord Brahma said, why don't you pray to Lord Ganesha? So we all know about Lord Ganesha. We are not going to go into these individual stories. So Lord Ganesha is the god of beginnings, and he is supposed to be the god of knowledge and god of prosperity. So Vedavyasa, he immediately prayed to Lord Ganesha, and Ganesha said, okay, I will help you with writing. As you are narrating these slokas, I will write them and I will keep up with your pace, but on one condition. You should not break your flow. If you break your flow and stop somewhere, by the time I finish writing, I'm going to stop writing. Then Vedavyasa said, okay, I'm going to counter another condition to you. As you write these slokas, you have to write them only upon understanding the sloka completely, so that he can get some time formatting the slokas and he can get ready for the next sloka. So they both gave conditions to each other, and the great journey for this great epic started. Both of them are blessed by Lord Vishnu himself. These conditions are just there to entertain both of them. They know what they're doing. Every sloka is coming. As Vyasa was narrating it, Ganesha already knew it, and there is absolute teamwork between them, and the result is this greatest epic that we all are able to hear today and are able to enjoy. So that is the background of how Mahabharata was written and how it came upon to all of us to read, listen, and enjoy. So coming to the story itself. So we are going to start the story with the great King Shantanu. The great King Shantanu, there are few kings before him. The story of Mahabharata, there are few mention of other kings before him, but for our purposes we are going to start the story with the great Kuru dynasty king Shantanu. The Kuru dynasty is the greatest dynasty that we will see in the Mahabharata. Later we will talk about Pandavas and Kauravas, but it all started with the King Kuru and his dynasty, and King Shantanu is one of the kings in that dynasty. Oh, he was a very powerful, strong, and honest king, and he made sure, with honest ruling and fair ruling in his kingdom, Hastinapura, he made sure that people lived in prosperity and in peace. So he made sure that they had food, they had jobs, they had everything that they need, and people lived in peace and harmony. So everybody was happy. So one day, King Shantanu, his favorite hobby is to walk on the banks of river Ganga. So one day he started walking on the banks of river Ganga, and then suddenly he saw a beautiful woman walking in the same banks of river Ganga. So that is none other than river Ganga herself. So to give you a very little background, the story of river Ganga comes in Ramayana, where Ganga originally is the river that flowed in heavens, celestial goddess Ganga. So because of Bhagiratha's tapas, he asks her through the help of Lord Shiva to come on to earth. So that is how Ganga came from heaven to the earth, and it started flowing. She started flowing on earth. So she is celestial, the river is celestial, so she can take any form she wants. So that day she took the form of a human, and she was walking alongside the banks of river Ganga. So King Shantanu saw river Ganga, and she was a beautiful lady, so he was immediately impressed by her beauty. He went up to her and he said, why don't you marry me? I'm like very impressed with your beauty, and I want you to be my queen. So Ganga, there's a reason why she is on earth. There's a reason why she came to earth, and she's on a human form walking there. We'll talk about that a little later. So she knew what she's destined for. So she agreed to marry King Shantanu on one condition. She said, the day you ask me a question of my behavior or why I am doing what I am doing, that day I will leave you. So as long as you don't question my actions, I will be your wife. If that condition is okay by you, I'll marry you. So King Shantanu, he didn't think it through. He said, okay, she is a celestial being. Her agreeing itself is a great deal. So I'm just going to do whatever she asks me to do. He agreed to that condition, and they both got married, and they started living happily in their palace. In due time, Ganga became pregnant, and she gave birth to a child. So the baby was like, very small baby. The baby was just born. Ganga, to everybody's shock, King Shantanu was shocked, the whole kingdom was shocked. She picked up the baby, she walked to river Ganga, the water Ganga, and she threw the baby into the river. Shocking, right? So she threw the baby into the river, the baby drowned, and the baby died. King Shantanu was shocked. The whole kingdom was awaiting the child of Shantanu so that they have the next king lined up. So they were all excited that King Shantanu and Ganga were having a child, and they were very disappointed. Everybody was shocked. Even for us, it is very shocking that a celestial being like Ganga behaves in this monstrous way of throwing a baby into the water, right? So, but King Shantanu remembered the condition that he wasn't supposed to ask any questions or question her actions. Whatever she did, he just had to keep quiet. So he didn't say anything. He was just feeling bad within himself, so feeling sorry within himself. And days passed, and she got pregnant again. And next, in due time, they had another baby. She took the baby, went to waters, and did the same thing. She threw the baby in the waters again. The second baby in the waters. Again, king was shocked. The whole kingdom was shocked. Everybody was in deep sorrow. Again and again and again. 7 times she did the same thing. Newly born baby, she picks up the baby, walks up to the river, throws the baby into the water, and walks out. And King Shantanu could not ask her or stop her because of the condition that she laid out before marriage. So, and again, some more time passed. King was very, very upset, disappointed, mad. So many things were going on within him, but he could not question her, right? Next, in due time, she got pregnant again. Again, she gave birth to a 8th baby. Then she went and picked up the baby, and she was walking. As she was walking, King Shantanu could not tolerate anymore. He stopped her, and he started asking all these questions. How can you behave so monstrously? What is this? Why are you throwing away these babies? These are our babies, and they're supposed to be in this world for a reason, and all these questions. And he became very angry at her. So then she replied, "O king, I could not tell you the actual reason before, but these babies are here because of a curse that they got in their previous life. They are the Ashtavasus, and they were cursed by sage Vasishtha, and 7 of them were to be relieved immediately from their curse. So I had to throw them into the waters as soon as they were born. But this is the 8th baby, and he is destined to live a long, long and mighty life. So he is going to stay. So now I'm going to tell you the story of the Ashtavasus and how they got the curse in the first place. Listen to me, O king," said Ganga. Ashtavasus. Ashta means 8. Vasus are a kind of celestial beings who are the guardians of the nature. So they are gods, so they have all the godly powers like immortality, invisibility, doing whatever they want in just by thinking about it, the aerial cars, traveling anywhere. So they have all the godly powers. So with those powers, one day the Ashtavasus started traveling around the earth. As they were traveling on their aerial cars along with their wives, they came above a sacred ashram of sage Vasishtha. Sage Vasishtha is a very renowned and auspicious sage. We will hear about this sage from time to time. He will appear in stories in Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, and he is the guru of Rama. So you can imagine, from time to time he's always available, he's always there doing miracles in various stories. So they came above the ashram of sage Vasishtha. As they were crossing the ashram of sage Vasishtha, they saw the wonderful cow Nandini, Vasishtha's cow Nandini. So one of the Vasus, Prabhasa, told his wife that this is the ashram of sage Vasishtha, and the cow you are seeing down there, she is the holy cow Nandini, and that cow is so powerful that whoever possesses that cow can grant whatever wish they have, and that cow can give them and clear those wishes for them just by praying to that cow. So immediately Prabhasa, one of the Vasu's wife, she thought about it, and she told Prabhasa, hey, we as gods, we enjoy some perks like immortality and not getting old and all these things. I have a human friend, she's a king, she's a daughter of a king, and she is getting old. Why don't we take this cow from Vasishtha and give it to her? With her blessings, my friend will never get old, and she will get whatever she wants. That way we can stay friends forever. That is where Prabhasa should have said, when she says take it from Vasishtha, she meant stealing, right? Vasishtha, the cow is very dear to Vasishtha. Vasishtha would not give the cow to anybody without Vasishtha knowing if you take it, that is stealing. So she was basically suggesting that they steal the cow from Vasishtha. That is when Prabhasa should have been like, no, what are you talking about? That is stealing. Stealing from anywhere is a wrong thing. And next, above that, stealing from sage Vasishtha, it is even more wrong. And above all that, stealing a cow is even more wrong. So that's what he should have said. But instead, he wanted to impress his wife. He said, we have the power, we have the means. Let's just go and get the cow, and then Vasishtha will never know who took the cow. And then he told his other brothers, the 7 brothers, the Vasus, hey, this is what we are trying to do, help us out. Again, that is where they should have stopped him, saying, hey, what are you doing? This is not something that we should be doing. This is wrong at so many levels. They did not say that also. So what they did, they went, again, they have the magical powers, so they went there without anybody seeing them. They got the cow and vanished from there. But Vasishtha is spiritually very strong Rishi, sage, who knows everything. Wherever things happen, whatever happens, he can close his eyes and he can look through his third eye and know what happened. So immediately, once he came back to the ashram, he looked at the ashram and that the cow was missing. He immediately closed his eyes and he realized what the Vasus had done. So he got angry. The cow was like a daughter to him. So he immediately cursed the 8 of them to live the life of humans. For celestial beings, that is a big downgrade, because the humans, they don't have the powers that the celestial beings have. They go through all the emotions, the good, the bad, the sorrow, the happiness. So all these things have to be endured, right? So that is a big downgrade for them. So they were immediately informed and they were immediately repented for their mistake. So I talked about the spur of the moment and the consequences that lead to the decisions that we take in the spur of the moment, right? This is one of those moments. If they had thought about it, what they were doing, whether that is right or wrong, It just seemed like it is the right thing to do for them at that moment, but the consequences that they're going to face now, they are expensive now. So that is the good, the bad, and what needs to be done. Always staying in the right path, always doing the right thing. That is so important, because the consequences follow. Even at that point of time, it may seem like the easy thing to do. The consequences will not be that easy. So the Ashtavasus, they immediately came back to Vasishtha's ashram. They fell at his feet, they prayed to him, they asked for forgiveness, they begged for forgiveness. So then Vasishtha said, hey, you committed something, you will face the consequences no matter what. It is better that I give you a curse and drive you to those consequences. So I will reduce the punishment for the 7 of you who are not directly involved in the crime. So the 7 of you will be relieved of the human life immediately. But the 8th one, Prabhasa, who actually committed the crime, he will lead a long life on earth in the human form. So he revised the curse and he sent them back. Then the 8 Vasus, they repented, they felt sorry for what they had done, and then they started thinking the course of action. Okay, now they have to go to earth, they have to see how the 7 of them can be relieved. That is when they went to river Ganga. I'm not going to go deep into this story, but river Ganga is also destined to go to earth, marry a human and lead a human life, because once she was in the assembly of Lord Brahma and she did not maintain the decorum or the dignity in which one should be in that particular assembly of Lord Brahma. Brahma noticed that and he cursed Ganga to go to earth and live a human life and give birth to children and live the life of humans. So the Ashtavasus knew that Ganga was also destined to go to earth and become wife of somebody, give birth to kids. So they went to Ganga and they needed somebody to help them out, to release them early. So they told what had happened, they told how much repent they are going through and how sorry they are for their actions. So Ganga said, okay, I'll help you. The 7 of you, I will release you immediately. I will throw you into the waters that will relieve you from the human life and you will go back to your celestial being. But the 8th one, Prabhasa, will be my child and will live on earth for a long time. That was the arrangement, and that was the story that happened in the background with Ganga and the Ashtavasus. So let's come back to the actual story. This is the story Ganga was narrating to King Shantanu. While carrying the 8th baby, King Shantanu questioned her and she told all this background, right? So then Ganga said, no matter what, I had to tell you this, but still my condition is that you never question me and you cross that condition. So it is time that I leave you. I'm going to leave now and I'm going to take this child with me. I'm going to train this child, educate this child, raise this child, and once he becomes ready, I will bring him back to you and he can take care of you and your kingdom and help you in all aspects. She promised that and she took the baby and she left. Then a few years passed and the king Shantanu repented for what he did. He felt sorry that Ganga had to leave along with her child, along with their child, and he was missing them a lot, like, especially the child, and he was always thinking about where he was and what he was doing. Again, his favorite hobby, walking on the banks of river Ganga. One day he started walking on the banks of river Ganga and he saw a young man practicing archery. That young man was practicing archery with such perfection and such perfect aim and the form and everything. King Shantanu was so impressed by his aim, target, and the skill that he was showing in the archery and other warfare techniques. So he came and he looked very familiar. He talked to the young man, and then immediately at that time river Ganga also appeared, and she introduced the young man to be Shantanu's son, who she took when she was leaving King Shantanu. So his name is Devavrata. Later on his name will change, but now she introduced him as Devavrata to King Shantanu and said, this is your child. He became a young man, very educated. He is well versed with all Vedas. He learned the Vedas from sage Vasishtha, again sage Vasishtha from the previous story where he cursed the Vasus, and he learned the other scriptures from Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the teacher of gods. So you can imagine, if he is the teacher of gods, what kind of great sage he is. And the art of war, like the archery, the swords, everything he learned from Parashurama. Parashurama is the 6th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. He went around the earth 21 times, and he battled with all available kings at that time, and nobody could defeat him. So Parashurama is that great warrior that he went around the earth challenging all the kings at that time, and nobody could defeat him. So Devavrata learned the art of war, archery, the swords, how the formations are, what the battle techniques are, all of those things from Parashurama himself. So he was well trained in everything, well educated, and now I am going to hand him over to you. He will be with you, and I am going to go back to my celestial worlds, is what Ganga told Shantanu, and she left from that place. Shantanu was very happy. So he left with Devavrata, went back to his kingdom. He introduced Devavrata to everybody as his son, and how he is going to help him going forward with all aspects of the kingdom. So everybody was happy, and at this point what we are going to do is we are going to talk about another story, another place, and later on we'll connect all these stories. Okay, so this is happening, the coming story is happening at a different place around the same time. So this story is about sage Parashara and Satyavati. Satyavati is the daughter of the king of fishermen. The king of the fishermen in that area, his name is Dasaraju, and his daughter, her name is Satyavati. They are mainly there. They mainly do the helping. They help people cross the rivers from one place to. They own a lot of boats. They use those for fishing, and they help people cross from one banks of one river to another river, so they can cross and go to different places. So Dasaraju and his team, they normally operate the boats, but when they are unavailable, Satyavati is also trained, his daughter Satyavati is also trained to operate those boats. One day sage Parashara came to one of the banks of river Yamuna, where Dasaraju and Satyavati were there with the boat, and Parashara is a great sage. He is the grandson of sage Vasishtha. Again, Vasishtha, we talked about Vasishtha 2 times. He is the teacher of Devavrata and also the sage who cursed the Ashtavasus. So Parashara is the grandson of sage Vasishtha. He is also a renowned and great sage with great spiritual powers. And Parashara, he wanted to cross the river Yamuna. He asked Dasaraju for his help, and Dasaraju, he was in the middle of doing something, so he asked his daughter to help Parashara cross the river on the boat. So Parashara and Satyavati, they were crossing the boat, and Parashara looked at Satyavati, and he immediately realized that this woman was destined for greatness. He knew that this woman would be the mother of a great sage who will give the scriptures, who will give all literature work, excellent literature work that is available to mankind. So he immediately spoke to her and told her, Satyavati, you are destined to be the mother of this great sage, and I am going to gift you that child here. So in turn, you have to be the mother of that child, and he will be renowned to be a great sage, and he will make you famous too, as the mother of the great sage Vyasa. So that said, like, at first Satyavati was very hesitant because she didn't know what was happening, and Parashara suddenly was talking about a child and the great literature and all those things, and she had so many questions, and she was very hesitant to be the mother of the child. So Parashara then assured her that there won't be any implications on her or any bad name for her for being the mother. And also she was named as Matsya Gandhi because there used to be a fragrance of or a smell of fish around her, because she is the daughter of a fisherman, or whatever reason it is. There used to be a staunch smell around her, that used to come around her, in and around her, right? So he promised her that from that day onwards there will be the fragrance of fresh flowers and sandal coming from her after giving birth to the great sage. So finally he convinced her to become the mother of the great sage, and Satyavati, she knew that she was destined to do more than rowing a boat, so she agreed. And near an island, they stopped the boat near an island, and she gave birth to a newborn baby right then and there. There is no 9-month waiting, there is no becoming pregnant, nothing of that sort, because this is a spiritual baby born with the blessings of a great sage, Parashara. And because of those blessings, that newborn baby, immediately within minutes, he grew into a young man right then and there. That young man, he looked around, he realized that that wonderful woman was his mother, Satyavati, and that great sage was his father. So he bowed to both of them, he did namaskar to both of them, he took their blessings, and he told his mother, "Hey, oh mother, I am destined to do meditation, to do tapas, and to do spiritual work and be close to God. So I am not going to stay with you. Please pardon me, but I will give you one boon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, if you think about me, I will appear in front of you. I promise you. Using my spiritual powers, just think of my name, and I will appear in front of you." That is the promise that young man made to the mother, and he started leaving. So that young man was named Krishna Dvaipayana. The original name given to that young man was Krishna Dvaipayana. Krishna meaning because he was dark complex, like, his skin complexion was a little dark, his Krishna. We will see 4 Krishnas in the entire story of Mahabharata. We are very well aware of one Krishna, the Lord Krishna, but during the story of Mahabharata there are actually 4 Krishnas. So the first Krishna through the course of this story is the Krishna Dvaipayana. The name Krishna because of his skin complexion being dark. Dvaipayana means the one that is born on an island. Because he was born on an island, he was named Dvaipayana, Krishna Dvaipayana. Later on, he was named as Vedavyasa, or renowned as Vedavyasa, because he parsed the Vedas into 4 parts, and he gave so much literary work to the world. He was later named as Vedavyasa. So that is the story of Vedavyasa. We talked about Vedavyasa being the narrator and author of this very story that we are listening to, the Mahabharata. So that is the birth story of Vedavyasa. So from the mother perspective, she was first called as Matsya Gandhi, one who smells like a fish. Then because of Parashara, she started smelling, and in or around miles around her, she started smelling like spring fresh flowers and sandal. So then she was named as Yojana Gandhi, and she's also named as Satyavati. So all 3 refer to the same person, the mother of Vedavyasa. So that is the story of the birth of Vedavyasa. So during the course of this sessions, we are going to build this family tree. As of now, for today's class, what we have seen is Ganga coming to earth, marrying King Shantanu, and the 7 Vasus returned back to the celestial worlds, and the 8th Vasu, the Prabhasa, he became a young man, a great warrior. His name is Devavrata. His name is going to change later, but This is the connection. And to the right we are seeing the Satyavati, who is the daughter of Dasharaja, and Parashara gave the boon of becoming the mother of Vyasa to Satyavati, and Vyasa is the son of Satyavati and Parashara. So how they connect again, we are going to see in the next session how Satyavati and King Shantanu connect, and how this family tree builds more, and how this family tree goes into next generations. So that will be part of the next session. So today's session, we are going to conclude the session here. But from a story perspective, I just wanted to get an idea of how much time each of these sessions will take, or each of these stories will take. So from next session onwards, the story will move faster, and we will cover more ground from next week, of course. For today's session, that will be the story part of the session. And every week when we have time, and if time permits, after our story, we are going to cover one segment, which is the reason or the traditions of why and what we do in Sanatana Dharma. Again, in Hinduism, there are so many traditions, and there are so many rituals that we do. Some of them we understand why we are doing, some of them we don't. And in this segment, the weeks that we have time after the story, we're going to listen to one segment of what we are going to do and why we do it. So in today's session, since we have time, we are going to cover one of those traditions, a very well-known tradition to all of us. We all pray to Lord Ganesha before starting anything new. Whether it is a travel, whether it is a big function that we are doing at home, whether it is a project that we are doing, whether it is construction, anything that we are doing, even for the class, before beginning the class, we started with the prayer of Lord Ganesha. Why do we do it? Why is it important that we start everything with Lord Ganesha, and why is he the Lord of beginnings? So that is the reason that we are going to find out in today's segment. So long time ago, Lord Ganesha, we all know that Lord Ganesha is the son of Lord Shiva and Parvati Devi. They actually have two sons, Ganesha and Kartikeya. So one day they're all sitting in Kailasa, they're all having a family time, and suddenly all the gods, they came to Lord Shiva and Parvati for advice. So they came and they said, we all want to appoint somebody as the leader of Vignas, and we all want to give him the position of Gananatha, Vignanatha. So everybody, all your subordinates will report to him, and also that person will lead or be the leader of all Vignas. What are Vignas, and why do the gods need them, right? Vignas are obstacles. Obstacles in any form that come in the path of anything that we are doing. That is Vignas. So Vignas are caused for various reasons, by, to slow down bad people from doing evil things, or something that the good people are doing but they're not doing it in the right way. For whatever reasons, Vignas are caused to hinder the progress of a task. So the gods came and said, we need a leader for Vignas. Then Shiva and Parvati, they wanted to, and both Ganesha and Kartikeya said, I want to be the leader of Vignas, I want to be the leader of Vignas. Typical brothers feud, right? Then Lord Shiva and Parvati, they wanted to settle this without any bias, and they wanted to do a very fair treatment of how they are going to decide who the leader is. So they then said, whoever among you can go around the earth and visit all the sacred rivers and take a dip in those rivers and can come back here, the fastest to come back will be the leader of the Vignas. So they basically gave them a race to run, and then whoever is the winner of the race will be the leader of the Vignas. So both of them, they agreed, and immediately Kartikeya's chariot is a peacock, and he immediately mounted on the chariot, his chariot, the peacock, and he flew into the skies. And as we know, the peacock is very fast, it's swift, so they went at super speed and they vanished immediately because of their super speed. Then Vignesha or Ganesha, he looked at his chariot, which is a mouse. He is well built, big body built. He has mouse as the chariot. He immediately realized he's not going to win this race with his mouse as the chariot. So he immediately went to his parents Shiva and Parvati, and he bowed to them. He did namaskar to them, and he said, I cannot win the race by running behind Kartikeya, but there has to be some way to achieve all of this by not physically going behind him. So please advise me on what to do. Then Shiva and Parvati, they said, if you circumambulate the pradakshina around your one's parents, anybody who does pradakshina around one's parents, it is equivalent to going around the entire earth. And if you chant Narayana mantra while doing that, the Narayana mantra is so auspicious that it is equivalent to taking a dip in all auspicious rivers. So he gave a secret of workaround for both the tasks. So pradakshina means it is going around someone or somebody by keeping the right side of the body towards the center at all the times. So that is called a pradakshina. In one of these segments in the future classes, we'll talk about what a pradakshina is and why we do that. In one of the traditions, we will cover that also. But for this, let's just know that pradakshina is going in circle around something or somebody by keeping the right side of one's body towards the center at all times. So that is the pradakshina. So immediately Ganesha took their advice. He started chanting the Narayana mantra and he started going around pradakshina around Lord Shiva and Parvati Devi. So as soon as he started doing the pradakshina, it seemed like he was crossing Kartikeya. Everywhere he went, he looked like Ganesha is ahead of him. But in fact, Ganesha never left Kailasa. But it looked like he was always ahead of Kartikeya. It looked like to Kartikeya he was always in front of him, leading in that race. So that is the power of the pradakshina and the Narayana mantra that Ganesha was doing. So eventually Kartikeya realized that this is a race that he is not going to win. So he came back to Kailasa and he saw that Ganesha has already completed the race and he returned back to Kailasa. So he conceded his defeat and he agreed that Ganesha should be the leader of Vignas. So everybody was happy, and immediately Lord Shiva and Parvati Devi crowned him, Ganesha, to be the leader of Vignas. And he said, from today onwards you will receive the first prayers before anybody starts anything. Not just us humans, even the gods, before they start anything, they start with the prayer to Lord Ganesha. So they blessed him, and then they said, from today onwards you will receive the first prayers, and as a result of those prayers, what you have to do in return is, for your devotees and for all the people who are doing good things, remove all their obstacles and give path to complete their tasks successfully. So in order to get the blessings of Lord Ganesha, in order to avoid any obstacles that may come during the path of a course, and in order to complete our tasks successfully, we pray to Lord Ganesha. So let's remember to do that, even if it is a short prayer, or even if it is just closing your eyes and thinking of Ganesha wherever you are. It is very important that we pray to him before we start anything important, or anything even small or big, anything before we start. It is important to pray to him and think of Lord Ganesha. So that is the reason why we pray to Ganesha before starting anything new. So this session we are going to conclude a little early. From next session onwards, like I said, we are going to cover more ground of the story, and we are going to unveil new chapters, and we are going to go to the next generations of the Kauravas and Pandavas and see how all the story of Mahabharata had started and where it took all the turns. So the next segment would be the Mangala Shasanam. Mangala Shasanam means a conclusion with best wishes. So in our culture, again, we just don't best wishes when we do the prayer. We just don't wish for ourselves or for our neighbors or just for family members. We wish the best for the entire world, and that's what we are going to do. मङ्गलाशासनपरैर्मदाचार्यपुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यैः सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु. If you have any questions, feel free to stay back and ask, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. If not, I'll see you next week. Until then, be good and do good.